Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Gooner here, bringing you another Arsenal talk. In this Arsenal talk, I'll just be talking about some of the Anderlecht game. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but let's just get the bad over with, like right away. It's kind of like a reversal of fortune, if you will. In the Burnley game, like the last 35 minutes was just a relentless attack by Arsenal, and goal after goal went in, we had chance after chance. We had so many opportunities to score against Burnley. It was just an amazing 35 minutes to really watch. Of course, in this Anderlecht game, the last 30 minutes, the last 35 minutes was it was just anything that could go wrong went wrong in those 35 minutes. I wasn't able to watch the game live because I was at work. Seeing some of the tweets going out during the game. After the game, I mean, it was just it was crazy. And then came home, basically I watched all the goals, and then I watched the last about 35 minutes of the game because I really wanted to see what happened. Um, one of the major, one of the main concerns was, of course, the offsides goal. Of course, that was goal number one. Uh, I mean, this is Champions League. This is one of the marquee events in football year round. One of the marquee events in football alone. I mean, you have the World Cup, you have the Euros, Confederations Cup, and then Champions League. I mean, when these marquee events happen, especially in Champions League is primarily in Europe, and they collect all the best referees in Europe to ref these games. But I mean, goal number one, that was a joke. He was a full man, a full body offsides. You don't get that open unless you're offsides. I mean, it's just. I mean, the back line was perfect. It was up. And they weren't allowing anything. I think it was either Oxlade-Chamberlain or uh, that was running into the box to stop a possible cross. Um, Even when he let the cross go, I mean, the guy was a full body offsides, and the side judge had a clear view, had an absolute clear view straight down the line of the play. And the guy was a full body offsides. In football terms, it's considered a mile offsides to be that much offsides and still have that goal allowed. I mean, what a shit show by the refs. I mean, it's this is this is what happens to Arsenal. Every year, you know, we always seem, we have some of the worst luck possible. If it's not our injuries, it's the referees continuously fucking us. And this is Champions League. This isn't like the Premier League or any of the other league like Serie A. This is Champions League. I mean, can you name another bigger event? Maybe the Euros. That's bigger than the World Cup. I mean, you can honestly say that Champions League is the second, highest. I mean, you can even see it, the ratings alone. Champions League final. That's the only thing that comes even close to the World Cup final. These are supposed to be some of the best referees in Europe that are supposed to be calling these games. And a guy is that much offsides, and they allowed the goal to stand. What a joke! An absolute joke. But of course, we'll hear nothing from UEFA. We'll hear, we won't even get an apology. There won't be any kind of written statement or anything afterwards. What even pissed me off even more are the commentators. The commentator said one thing about the offsides. He said, "Oh, he might be slightly offside. Slightly. He's a full body offsides." And you know what? After that, they just ended the conversation. They didn't say anything more about it. They didn't say anything more about the side judge. They didn't say anything about the referee. They didn't continue on talking about how offsides this person was, which I just don't understand. If you're commentating under a game and you see something that ridiculous, it's your job to get that point of view across. But no, they spent about 5 seconds on it, and that was it. That was the end of it. And they were almost congratulating Anderlecht for that goal when it should have never been allowed in the first place. Saying, oh, they were showing great heart and determination, and the fucker was offsides. And you're gonna try to congratulate Anderlecht for fucking nicking a goal in that he was a full body offsides? Ridiculous. But like I said, from UEFA, we won't hear shit from them. We should protest the game because that one goal, for whatever reason, just changed the complete momentum of the entire game. We're up 3-0. They nick one goal that should have never been allowed, and it just killed our spirit, which I don't understand. We had a couple decent attacks after that, but it just seemed like everybody was, for whatever reason, shell-shocked. It was like the first matchup at Anderlecht. They got a goal late in the game to go up 1-0. It felt like that. Like, oh my God, the game is lost. They're up 1-0. We're still up 3-1. And it just seems like all the players are completely shut off. Goal number 2. I can see if Monreal was a winger or a number 10 or a striker. Maybe even a box-to-box CM. But he's not. Naturally, he's a left back. He's a defender. Yes, he's playing out of position. He's playing center half. And, just when I give him some credit for how he played, especially against Burnley, oh my God. As a defender, when you're inside the box, you cannot fucking touch anybody. The fact that he even put his hand clear on his shoulder and pulled back is so stupid. It was just, what a brain fart. As a defender, you already know that. All you have to do, if you've been watching football even for a year, once a penalty is given, which was, it was a clear penalty on Danny Welbeck. He was fucking raped. To be even more of a clearer penalty than that was, you have to get karate kicked in the face or something in the box. That's how clear cut the penalty was on Danny Welbeck. He was tripped, his legs were tangled up, he even got pulled back. It was clear cut PK. But if you've been watching football even for a year, you know for a fact that once a referee calls for a penalty against the opposing team, he's going to try to make up for that to the other team. And he's going to be eagle eye inside the box anytime the opposing team is in his box or whoever's box, looking to call another penalty to even up the score, to even up the PKs. It's just part of football, which is ridiculous in my opinion, because sometimes they give really soft PKs just to make up for it for whatever reason. But how stupid do you have to be to actually pull someone back inside the box? Gibbs wasn't too far away from, or it was either Flamini or Gibbs. I can't, my head is just like, I want to bang my head against my table right now, or my desk right now, just to, that's kind of how pissed off I am, especially at the referees, of everything that happened in the last 35 minutes. But Gibbs or Flamini, one of the two, was still close enough, if Monreal just let him go, that they could try to make up for it and try to cover for it. And Szczesny was still there too. Szczesny was, the guy would have had to go cross his body to basically beat Szczesny. Szczesny was in decent position to where if he tried to hit it one time, where if you try to hit it one time, he's going to basically hit it basically straight in front or try to go for near post. Szczesny was in pretty decent position to possibly make a save on it. But again, players were still right there to possibly help out Montreal if he just let him go, which he should have. Do you want to give up a PK or do you want to just let him go and roll the dice and hopefully we come out smelling like roses at the end? But he pulls him down for whatever reason. And the sick thing about it too is you can even see the side judge on one of the replays holding up his flag. He even called it too. The same side judge who allowed the offsides goal, the first goal, which is fucking ridiculous. Okay. And let me, before we go on to goal number 3, I might get some stick for this, for saying this, but our home fans, they suck. Sorry. Why do you pay all that money to sit on your hands all game long? The fans were lively in the first 50 once Ox scored his goal, but after that it was like a ghost town. Even before Anderlecht scored their first goal, they were loud. From 60th minute on, that's all you heard was the Anderlecht fans. You didn't hear one peep. You couldn't hear anything from the Arsenal fans. And there's supposed to be about 56,000 Arsenal fans in that stadium. Didn't hear a peep. Didn't hear an Arsenal chant. Didn't hear anything. Didn't hear a song. Nothing. You heard the Anderlecht fans. 4,000 fans being louder than 55,000 fans. Ridiculous. Should be ashamed of themselves. Whoever went to that game. I might get some stick for it. If I went to a game, I'd lose my voice every single game. I don't care if we were up 5-0. I'm still singing. I'm still screaming. I'm still urging the players on. Nothing from our home fans. And it was funny too. I was watching replay. Even that third goal, I was reversing it a few times to watch it. One thing I noticed: tons of fans already left the stadium. Ton of them. Not one Anderlecht fan left the stadium. They were all still there. But you could see empty seats all over. I know it's it's a common thing at Arsenal. It's like, oh, we're up 3-2. We'll close it out. No problem. Pfft. So many empty seats. So ridiculous. Again, why do you pay all that much money if you're so worried about beating the traffic? It's like you're just throwing your money away. But going on to the third goal. Do you really want to know why Lukas Podolski doesn't get any games? Do you know why he doesn't start? Do you know why he can't get... that one play, that third goal, summed up Lukas Podolski's entire career at Arsenal. That's exactly why he does not play. You can watch the replay over and over again if you want to. Lazy as it gets. He's lazier than Ozil. I know Ozil gets, shitload of flack for being lazy. There's no one lazier on the team than Lukas Podolski. Yeah, he's a great finisher. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's one of the best finishers on Arsenal. He's probably one of the better finishers in the world. But other than that, he's useless. He really is. I know fans screaming for him. Oh, he should play more. He should start more. He should get more minutes. And that one play summed up his whole career. All he had to do was run at the attacker. That attacker, he even had a couple seconds to line up his cross. He had a free cross inside the box in the 90th minute when it's a 3-2 game. when Anderlecht was throwing everything at us that they could. And what does Lukas Podolski give? He gave the guy at least a 5-yard cushion. And what's he do when he finally realizes the guy is going to make a cross into the box? He does a lazy jump and he sticks his left foot out. Whippy doo dah. And all he had to do was close him down. You know, he must be fucking blind. He must not be watching what's going on the pitch. He must not fucking care. He must not be watching Alexis Sanchez. He must not be watching Oxlade-Chamberlain of what they were doing tonight. Danny Welbeck closing down defenders. Aaron Ramsey closing down attackers to get the ball back. No, he shrugs off, gives the fucker 5 yards of cushion to make a cross inside the box, and it was a perfect cross. I mean, and then you can even go on to BFG as well. You know, last year he wouldn't let anybody in front of him. Now this year, I mean, he's letting anybody in front of him. He let the striker right in front of him, and you know, he basically the guy had a free header when it came down to it. And that's exactly why Lukas Podolski does not get any minutes. That's why he doesn't deserve any minutes. If you're going to be that fucking lazy, you shouldn't be on the team. You shouldn't be getting any minutes. I don't care how good of a finisher you are. And honestly, that late in the game, I don't know why he's coming on in the first place. But again, I don't think, you know, nothing should have came out of it in the first place, because after that first goal, you know, Arsenal just completely shut off. And of course, you see Arsene Wenger sitting on his fucking seat. And again, you can make the case of, you know, starting the season with 6 defenders with 0 cover. No one has any cover right now. I mean, no one does. I mean, the only one that has actual probably cover right now is maybe Cullum Chambers, because Hector Bellerin is sitting on the bench. Other than that, there's nothing. You know, and a lot of people, you know, I saw a lot of tweets about Flamini, and I was really expecting to see like a complete shit show from him once he came on. And, you know, I didn't see any of that. You know, for whatever reason, once Arteta came off, you know, with his, you know, it seems like he has a, you know, an upper, you know, hammy or something like that. Again, you know, the guy's getting old. He's going to break down, obviously. You know, and playing the, you know, back to games, like I've said in my previous episodes, you keep on playing these players over and over again, they're going to end up getting hurt. And of course, Arteta gets hurt again for the 3rd time this year already, I think. But it seems like once Arteta went off, it was just like no one knew what the fuck was going on. Everybody just shut off. Especially after that first goal. That should have never been allowed in the first place. You know, it just didn't, you know, watching that, it just didn't make any sense. And like I said, you know, I was expecting to take, you know, Flamini to the ringers here in this Arsenal talk, but I can't really say anything about him. People were screaming about him on Twitter, and I was like, after watching, I'm just like, what's there really to scream about? I hardly saw anything about Lukas Podolski, and he's one of the main people to blame about this. All he had to do was track him down. That's all. All he had to do was run at him. So, you know, for the last 30 minutes, everybody shut off. For the last 30 minutes, you know, the refs fuck us again. The shitty thing about this is, if we win the game, we're automatically into the knockout stage. You know, with Dortmund winning today, it's highly unlikely that we could have won the group. even if we beat them in our next matchup at the Emirates. Because the goal differential is so lopsided between Arsenal and Dortmund that we probably would have never won the group to begin with. I think we would have to beat Dortmund something like 6-0 or something like that to even have a chance. And then they would have to either lose or tie against Anderlecht on the last match of the group stage. So what's the shitty thing about this is, if we cement ourselves into the knockout stage by winning this game, the final 2 games we could just rest players instead of throwing them out there and continuously throwing them out there. Now we have to throw them out there. Now we have to play Alexis Sanchez. Now we have to play Danny Welbeck. Instead of giving those guys a day off, a rest. So this hurts. This tie, this draw, hurts more than everybody, I think everybody feels it. Just, I don't know if too many people have realized that if we would have won this game, we could have rested everybody that we wanted to, all the quote-unquote first teamers or the A team, and could have put a B squad out there for the next 2 games. Because our chances are slim to none. Even though that Dortmund's playing like shit in the Bundesliga, they're playing like a Champions League contender in the Champions League. I mean, they're like 2 different teams. But when it comes to Champions League, they're blowing everybody out. No one has a chance against them. In this group stage, at least. But for those final 2 games, we could rest players. We could rest them for Premier League games. In that Dortmund matchup as well, right after that Dortmund matchup, we have Manchester United. How nice would have been to rest a Danny Welbeck, rest a Alexis Sanchez, maybe an Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe even Aaron Ramsey, to rest those guys, to get them primed and ready for Manchester United. But no, now we have to play everybody. Because there's still a very, very slight chance that Galatasaray, I believe, or even Anderlecht can still go through. I mean, Anderlecht has to win their last 2 games. And then we have to at least tie one of our games. I mean, that Galatasaray game now is very important. Because the way Dortmund's playing right now in the Champions League, we can't beat them, honestly. Especially going, being 3-0 up and giving it up. So it hurts us more than it really helps us, in the long run. We could just rest players, because that's what we're lacking right now too. Is Arsene is just continuously throwing out the same lineup. How Santi Cazorla is still in the lineup is beyond me. I thought for sure that Thomas Rosicky should have started the game instead of Santi, because Santi's he's just playing like an ass. It's been like this pretty much the entire season. And why he keeps on throwing him out there when, Rosicky hasn't had really any type of minutes, hasn't really had any type of playing time. When you're playing against an Anderlecht team who's going to park the bus, when you need someone who's energetic and who's going to make runs and who's going to, help defend when needed, who's going to track back, that's Thomas Rosicky in a nutshell. Why not play him instead of Santi? Give Santi a rest, for Christ's sake, because he's nowhere near in form. Talk about Oxlade-Chamberlain a little bit. Last year, like last season, one of the players, like once Ozil came to the club, one of the players that just adapted right away to his style of play and really fed off of him and really played like a 1-2 combo and really just bossed the midfield was Aaron Ramsey. This year you're seeing kind of a effect that Alexis Sanchez is playing right now on Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain, he was all over the place in this game today. I mean, all over the place. He was really running at defenders, really just, busting his ass. It was great to see him score a goal. That goal was beautiful. But in between that time, from that goal to the beginning of the game, he was just all over the place, taking defenders on, pressing the ball, trying to get the ball back. It was great to see. It seems like Oxlade-Chamberlain is really paying attention to what Alexis Sanchez is doing on the pitch. Like I've been saying throughout the last few episodes, of players should really start noticing what he's doing. That's a world-class player right there, Alexis Sanchez. That's how you have to play if you want to be a world-class player. That's how relentless you have to be if you want to be a world-class player. And I think Oxlade-Chamberlain, he wants to be that guy. And he's been really adapting. He's been watching, obviously, because he's been busting his ass the last few games. I know the Hull City game wasn't his best game. I mean, that was probably one of his worst games that I've seen him play in an Arsenal shirt. And he stepped up. He's been stepping up since then. And you can honestly say he's been playing kind of like Alexis Sanchez for most of the time too, where he's just pressing the ball. He's trying to get the ball back. Making a nuisance of himself, taking on defenders. Just been playing great football. Alexis Sanchez, that free kick. Again, Santi Gazzola, he's trying to stand over the ball, and you can just see Alexis Sanchez just shake him off, just get the fuck out of here. Honestly, Santi, just get away from the ball, because Santi's like AIDS right now to the ball, trying to make any type of shot. But his ball did go into the wall, but his reaction and his his sensibility to take that ball on the volley and just smash it, and oh my God, the focus, the control, the skill that had to be put into that shot was just unbelievable. I mean, the guy is just rolling right now. I mean, anything that he touches, it's almost going in. He had a few other chances during the game too. Again, working his ass off, all game long. In the pouring rain, wet surface. The guy's just going hard. Of course, the PK. Danny Welbeck had a few chances. He had that header on that corner kick that he could have probably maybe did a little bit better on. He could have directed it maybe more near post to give himself a better chance at a goal. But again, one of the things that I love kind of what, and you saw it in the game. One time, Ox gave the ball away, and he was right back down the pitch, tracking the ball down to try to get it back. Danny Welbeck made a slight error too, and he was making a 50-yard run, 60-yard run down the pitch, trying to get the ball back. Same with Alexis Sanchez. When he saw his back, the back line was in trouble, he would just make that run and help him out. And even Aaron Ramsey, he didn't, again, still trying to find his form again from last season, but defensively, I thought he was pretty good. He was really, like Alexis Sanchez and everybody else, really relentless trying to get the ball back. So he did well in that department. He had an early chance with that nice little pass by Cullum Chambers. Of course, the Anderlecht player, threw his body in front of it, and unfortunately, it didn't go in. Hopefully he gets a goal soon to really pep up his confidence a little bit, because I think he definitely needs it. But other than that, I mean, when January hits, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, we need at least one center half to come in. We possibly need a right back on some type of loan. When the summer hits, I mean, our main buys should be a world-class DM and a world-class center half, because I think, BFG, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's not the same player as he was last year. Yeah, he has that lack of pace, which hurts him, but he makes up for it in his positioning, his awareness, his smarts on the pitch. And you could see it last year with him and Koscielny, and maybe it is, not having that partnership that they did last year. That's maybe throwing him for a loop possibly, but even then, he's making those errors inside the box, letting attackers get in front of him, and you just cannot do that, especially when you don't have a competent enough DM that's going to cover for you, who's going to be that extra man kind of in the box covering for the center halves. But he's letting attackers just slide right in front of him with ease, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. So next summer, yeah, we're going to have to go after a world-class center half because I think BFG is done. He hasn't shown any type of improvement whatsoever this entire season. I know it's probably tough on him for the simple fact that he's the only center half on the team right now. Why Cullum Chambers is still playing right back and Monreal is playing center half, and why Monreal just doesn't be pushed out to the even right back. I know he's left-footed and all of that kind of crap, but come on. Put a fullback in a fullback position. Put a center half in a center half position. And of course that goes solely on the manager. Again, a lot of cries for Wenger out, and a lot of people getting pissed off. Just like with players, once you lose the fans, you're all but dead. It doesn't matter, what you do to make up for it. Almost sometimes, once you lose the fans, you're pretty much a dead duck. You're a walking. You're just like the Walking Dead, pretty much. And little by little, people are coming out who have supported him solely and through everything, are now coming out and just saying, "Fuck this guy." Let's fire him at the end of the season at least, and get someone else new in, because we definitely need some new blood in. Honestly, as a manager, when you go 3-1 down, or if you even go, even if you're still 3-2 up, and it's coming near the end of the game, and you're not in the manager's box directing traffic, helping your players out, telling them to watch out for certain things. It's kind of ridiculous that he continues just to sit on the chair next to Steve Bold. And again, Steve Bold and his defensive tactics doesn't do anything. And that's possibly your next Arsenal manager, Steve Bold. Another guy who just fucking sits there and does nothing. I mean, you even see Manchester United with Louis van Gaal and Ryan Giggs. I think Ryan Giggs more so goes on to the manager's box just because of the fact that obviously he can speak English a ton better than Louis van Gaal. But even then, I never really seen Louis van Gaal in the manager's box ever. I think even through when he was managing the Dutch side. And even in the World Cup, he's always sitting down. He's never really doing anything. But still, you at least have someone inside the box. That's his assistant manager going inside the box, helping his players out and trying to direct traffic. And there's nothing there from Arsene Wenger. There's nothing there from Steve Bold. Why not? So, again, we still have to hold out for almost 2 months until January hits. Of course, they're going to be saying, Koscielny's due back after the international break. Debussy's due back sometime in December. We'll be fine. Blah, blah, blah. All it takes is another injury. And we're fucked again. And like I said before, if we don't get anybody within the first week and a half of that January window, I don't think we're getting anybody. I mean, we're going to be just fucked the entire year. But that's all I got for you. And, I wanted to kind of make this short, but it came out to be another somewhat long one. But, yeah, vent your frustrations if you need to in the comment section. Yeah, that'll be it. Later.